Welcome to another episode of Broken by Concept, episode 57. I'm here representing the Midlanders of the world. We got Nathan here representing the jungles of the world.
Jungle represent.
Let's get into it, Nathan. A lot to cover.
All right, so let's start off with some housekeeping.
Yep.
So, you know how we try and climb like solo queue?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're trying to climb the ranks of the Apple gaming section of the Apple podcast.
Okay.
So, there's lots of competition out there.
Right.
And, I really would like you guys' help to leave us a rating.
On the Apple podcast.
There'll be a link in, maybe I'll put there's a link in the description, I think. Is it in the
Yeah,
Apple
I believe
podcast?
so.
You can give it, if you hate the podcast, give it a 1 star. We want honest feedback here. And there's already some comments there and everything like that. So leave a little comment. I think it depends from country to country because our Apple podcast is different from the American one, like Australian. Like we have separate reviews for Australia and separate reviews from America.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
But I think the one that we have linked is American.
Right.
It's the American version of it. So
okay.
So I don't know how EU works. So if we could start off with that would be really appreciated because we want to try and get up in the gaming section of the Apple podcast,
that'd be pretty
really
cool.
Right?
Climb the podcast ladder.
Get to rank 1.
Beat Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I looked at his rating. Oh, he's got so
out of control.
Guys. Yeah, I think we got like 27. He's got something like 30,000 or something.
Right.
So we're working on it. It's our own journey. Yeah, one step at a time.
One day at a time.
So just highlighting some comments from last BBC podcast.
Okay.
I thought there was some interesting ones.
Yep.
We would like to props to some achievements. So this is from Rainier. Just wanted to give a quick update. I reached Masters after playing around 300 games after finishing Diamond 2 last season.
Wow.
Just wanted to say thanks to both. Think of a large part of it was because of how healthy you viewed League and how I in turn also viewed League to be such a great game.
That's awesome.
League's a great game.
Congrats, man.
I love League.
Good stuff.
We had another one. Currently Grandmaster mid laner. I have been binging your content and I believe if I apply everything correctly, I can climb way higher. And then we had another one saying, hi BBC, I got Diamond 4 for the first time ever after being stuck in Plat 3 for the last 2 years. Watch your podcast every week and applied your concepts and got from Gold 4 start this year all the way to D4 with a 63% win rate. Overall, in only 150 games, 3 blocks made a huge difference and not tilt queuing.
That's awesome, dude. Great stuff. Man, we're getting results, man.
So
we're getting results without even coaching.
Yeah, we just talk shit on this podcast.
We just dick around here on this couch and we're getting more results than our actual coach.
Yeah, we do literally. I know. That's sometimes I think it's like, oh my God, like what's going on here? Maybe the broken by concept methodologies,
Well, it just shows how important your relationship with the game is, right?
Yeah, viewing the game and just sort of really realizing just how poor you might have viewed the game in the past.
And how much self-sabotaging behavior exists that could be limiting you.
So speaking of self-sabotaging behavior, Mr. Curtis Morgan.
Yep.
I came across a video. Like it was a super clickbait, right? Like I was insta-baited into this by Healthy Gamer GG. And the title of the video was How Being Good at Games Leads to Suffering, right? We get in the video and that sort of stuff and, we're just sort of talking about some things and then it really gets to the juicy part at the end.
Yep.
As video clickbait works, right?
Yep.
But it was really interesting, the concept that he talked about there. So this guy, it was pretty obvious it was a League of Legends case. He didn't say which game it was, but some guy came to him saying he must have been from NA or something, or it could have been from OS, who knows, but he boot camps in Korea or in other regions that were better. And he felt like he was so inferior to those players. But then he asked him what he felt like when he played in his main region, whether NA, OS, or maybe even it was EU, who knows, he didn't say. He said, the players I play with are just dog shit. So what he was doing he was an inferior and superior. And both are like toxic in a way because they're both in forms of comparison. He was talking about how you can't get satisfaction if you're through comparison and that sort of stuff. And then he said so the way that you need the life hack to surpass the feeling inferior is to not feel superior anymore to other people. And he used like an analogy of like how he viewed people going to Harvard and stuff like that. So I thought that was really interesting. And I think that's helped a lot. I would say that has that sort of like, I mean, that sort of like ties into negative self-talk. It's like he used the quote, I'm dog shit. I'm a dog shit player in these things. But then he viewed the players that he played against in his region dog shit. But then that means his dog shit as well, you know?
Right.
So it's sort of like negative self-talk being, and like I experienced a lot of this in Zoltu as well, with some people just like, just suck at the game. It's like, well, you suck in the game maybe in comparison to a challenger player, but as we always say, it's like you're on your own journey.
Or when they go to a lower rank, they would say someone's going from platinum to gold. Oh, people in gold are just dog shit.
Especially when the season refreshes and stuff.
Yeah. No, this is a common problem that I face with a few people in the Midland Academy, and I think at the end of the day, you could kind of summarize this as a toxic form of comparison. But look, I'm not going to name names. So I had a guy reach out to me, very similar problem, right? So basically writes me saying, look, Curtis, I just can't help myself. I can't stop myself from comparing other people, their rank, what results they're getting. He says, oh, but there's all these diamond players that were, you know, diamond in 2020 and now it's 2021 and they're like grandmasters. Some of them even improved to challenge or whatever it is. And he's like, how are they able to do that? You know, how are these people able to improve at the game where I'm still at low master or whatever? And I said, well, do you find yourself comparing yourself to others in other areas of your life, whether it's academically or in appearance wise or whatever it may be? And he said, yeah, but doesn't everyone? And I said, well, yeah, I would agree with that. I think we all, some way, shape or form, compare ourselves to others. But I think the way you do it is very different. And I think you can have a healthier relationship with comparison in a way.
Yeah.
Because I try to make things as pragmatic as possible. And I don't think you can avoid comparison. I think it's natural.
It's built into human nature.
I think it's built in because I think, you know, we have built-in comparison in order to evolve.
Okay, so let me try and think of it. Might be ridiculous. It's not scientific at all, okay? This is really prehistoric times, caveman. I'm just like walking back to like my cave.
Yep.
And then I see a fellow caveman setting up his fire in a certain way. And it looked really effective, right? Like it looked like he was getting more heat or his fire was bigger. And then I looked there and it's like, okay, he was putting in extra wood and stuff like that. I'm like, wait, I want a fire that big. Why don't I have that? And then like through that, you can like learn, oh, that's the way he does it. I'm just going to do that. Is that good?
I think that's a pretty solid analogy.
Is that a good analogy?
Look, I think the way I viewed it was very similar. Using your analogy was like,
like you're hunting.
Yeah.
And this guy's like got a bow, dude. He like made a bow. You've never seen a bow in your life. You're like, and he just one shots like the deer or the lion or something. And you're sitting there with like your like little like spear or something. You're like trying to get melee range.
Well, no, I actually think you're skipping a step there. Though.
Am I really?
Okay. Yeah. Let's compare the specific example, like your little analogy with what league. What you're comparing with.
It's a survival thing.
No. What I'm getting at is, okay, a better, more healthier or realistic example would be you got these two guys walking back to the cave, but one guy has like say they've been fishing, and then one guy has like a huge sack of fish, whereas you only have like 3.
Yeah.
But you don't know how he did it. You don't really see his fishing rod. You don't see his technique or anything. You just see the result.
Yeah,
you just see the fish.
Yeah.
Right? So tying back to your deer analogy, this guy just got a deer and you just don't have one. Or he has a huge animal and you have like a little rabbit or whatever it might be, right? So you don't know how he did it. You don't see his instruments. You don't see how he did it. You weren't there watching how he did it. But you just kind of see the end result. So in a way, you might be comparing. I mean, it's probably perfectly normal in that scenario. Like, how the hell did he do that? Look at what I have and look at what he has.
If you didn't compare, then it's like, well, then you can't. You're not learning, growing, evolving.
I mean, I think the initial response is always going to be naturally comparing, right? But then you probably go through, is this important to me? Yes. Do I want something like that? Okay. Yes or no. And then you could start that as a chain series of events, right? Now, I was reflecting on what this guy said to me from the Midnight Academy. I said, why is it that I am able to, and look, this sounds incredibly like, look at me and I don't get affected. No, there's times where I've probably been affected in the past by comparison. I definitely did. But I would say now I don't really compare now. And when I do, it doesn't affect me personally. I don't look at this guy and however much money he has or academically or what university he went to or if he's a better coach than me or higher ranked than me. It just doesn't bother me. Like I'm just me and I'm doing my thing and
Just having a crack.
I'm just having a crack, right? But I was thinking, like, why are me and you, Nathan, why are we able to, we have that initial judgment. I think that initial judgment or form of sense of comparison is there, but we don't allow it to affect our confidence and we don't really allow it to bring ourselves down. So I got a little, I was thinking about it some more, reflecting on it. And I think that what it is intuitively, or not intuitively, but logically, when I see someone, whether it's a rank in a game, whether it's a cool car, I see like they drive this really awesome car or they bought this awesome house, I just kind of look at it and I'm thinking, everything makes sense. So if they're in that scenario where they've got the amount of money to buy this Maserati and I'm sitting there, I don't even own a car, it makes sense. I could probably ask them certain questions and get into the details and reverse engineer how they got to that position. So they were brought up in this environment.
So it could have been inheritance.
It could have been inheritance, but even like it would make sense why they're in that scenario. There's always a reason, whether it's through hard work and determination and through process. Great. If not, who cares? It's just like there is always a reason. So I don't look at that and be like, that's unfair. Or look at me, I have this and they have that. I just suck. No,
I can't get a car. I'm poor. I'm useless.
Because there's a reason they've got there. There's a reason. Something has happened. The stars have aligned, or they've been at the right place, had the right friendship group, the right parenting. They went to the great university, nailed their job interviews, their exams, whatever, and they led to this situation where they're able to buy this Maserati. Great. He's on his journey. He's doing his thing. And if that's really that important to me, right? If I really want that Maserati, if that was so important to me, then maybe I should have a chat with him. What did he do? How did you get into that situation? What would you recommend for someone to get into that industry? But it's not really that important to me. I don't really give a shit. That's why I don't even own a car. I don't care about a car. Couldn't care if I drive the shittest, and I have in the past, drive the shittest $3,000 to $5,000 car for years. And I gave it away. So my point is it's not important to me. Now, if you bring that to league, right? And we got like, say, a master tier player who's looking at it, or diamond player looking at a challenger player, or even if it's a gold player looking at a Diamond 4 player. Now, you might ask and be like, wow, this person's like doing this and like they got this like insane result. And I had a guy, it's so funny, a guy today in the league chat, he said he asked someone after a game, he said, what were you thinking this game? Like, he must have lost to him. He said, I wasn't thinking anything. And I love that. Because we don't know jack shit about that guy's circumstance, do we? We don't know what his league experience was like. We don't know what he...
Wait, so the guy... this says card full. We're going to quickly change that.
All right.
We'll be back in a jiffy.
We'll be back in 1 sec. We'll continue this.
We'll continue this. Right. You just got to remember what we were saying, Curtis.
No problem.
We're going to go fix the camera. I'll be right back in 2 seconds. Guys, technical difficulties.
And so before I was rudely interrupted...
Curtis, we're going to love the sloppiness of this podcast. Like,
I was rudely interrupted by the camera difficulties.
We're going so well. Curtis is now upset at me because...
No, I don't care about that.
But we... Like, it's just so scrappy. It's like
scrappy. It's very scrappy. We don't have a Jamie there fixing setting it up.
We make it work though. Like, we got, the please stand by thing. It's funny how no one comments on it anymore. Everyone's just used to it.
Yeah.
It's just
no one gives a shit.
Like, imagine on any other show, like, you'd never see that. No. Right? We just got this our own scrappy little method. That's what I love about the BBC mindset.
It adds character.
We got character on this podcast, right?
Anyway, so continue on. So I was saying I drove a shitty car, whatever. And yeah, so to help elaborate on the story, someone in the Discord today, I think it was Reborn, he was saying how he added someone after the game, someone I think he lost to. And he asked him, he said, what were you thinking throughout the game? What was your mindset like? This guy said, I wasn't thinking. Now,
Oh yeah,
whe-
I need a clarification on that. So
Okay,
so the guy he was playing against,
yeah, he added him
he added him
and asked him,
like
like, what were you thinking
the
in this
crazy
matchup
thing?
and shit like
Okay.
that, right?
And he
like,
said I wasn't thinking
and he was
anything.
because he got beaten by this guy. He was
Oh,
expecting
so he must be better. So then he'll be like,
in his mind.
there's no way this guy wasn't thinking about this when
Right.
I think about all this and he's beating me.
That's right, spot on.
Got it,
right?
yeah.
And then I love that because he said I wasn't thinking.
That's
now
right.
whether or not that was true, right? Let's just
Yeah.
say it is. 'Cause-
Maybe it was like a lazy response.
yeah, maybe he just couldn't be bothered explaining, or the guy's not aware of what he was thinking at the time, or what. It doesn't matter. Let's just say he wasn't, and he was autopilot in the game and beat this guy. What I love about that, and this is what this episode is going to be all about, is that everyone is on their own journey. You don't know what experiences that guy has had during league, what he did before. Did he play other games competitively? Is he an incredibly competitive person? Is he playing complete free flow? He's one of those players who is present in the moment, or maybe that guy's played a lot of his champion. He's a one trick. There's a trillion reasons as to why that guy performed better than him in that game. So whether or not he thought or not, yes, that can be infuriating if you want to view it like that.
So he was angry about that.
I'm assuming, yeah, he seemed
frustrated.
a bit frustrated, right?
Yeah.
But you could say the exact same thing in life, right? There are people that have cushy jobs that make a lot of money,
Yep.
or they just were in the right place at the right time. They went to, their parents put them in the right.
Bitcoin, dude, like Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, right? People can just make a shit ton of money by buying Bitcoin at that one time. You can view it as being angry or whatever. Or this guy gets promoted even though because his father is like the head of a company and just puts in a good word for him and he gets promoted. There is a trillion reasons why someone is in a better position than you, or makes more money than you, or is better off than you and whatever, or has better health than you, but it's RNG. Life's not fair. We don't understand, we don't have enough information on that person to know. And that is what I think we knew. And I'm assuming we kind of had this conversation earlier on, and feel free to jump in, but that, at least for me, that's what I intuitively believe. That's why I don't really get affected by someone else's situation, whether it's in game or whether it's in life. It's like, we're on a different journey. I'm doing my thing. And because you're doing your thing, it just doesn't bother me. So I think that's what I intuitively understand. And if I wanted that, I would put the effort forward.
You would break it down, get into the details.
I would break it down, get into the details, and figure out how the fuck can I get that. But if I'm not actively being obsessed about that thing, I can't complain about not having it. Now, if you were, and now this is where things get, if this guy, right, going back to the...
But what, isn't he doing that for league? Let's say if someone...
No, he's not. He's not this guy. I know he isn't.
Oh, okay.
He's admitted it. I guess I'm just haven't been trying. He's not process oriented.
Got it.
He's not getting into the fucking details.
Got it.
Breaking
Okay.
down his champ pool.
Yeah.
No, he's a Kassadin one trick.
Okay.
Or whatever. And you're struggling in Master. No shit, you're struggling in Master Duo as a Kassadin. Everything makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to tie it back to. That's
Yeah.
why I don't care. And that's why, and is that similar for you and your experiences?
Yeah, I mean, let's say, maybe you need examples that are closer to you, because I'm just thinking now, it's like, let's say there's a soccer player who is a professional soccer player.
Right.
And it's like, that'd be really cool to be a professional athlete or something like that. It's like, well, that person probably, was 10 years old, 9 years old, going through all these programs, lived in Europe and that sort of
His
stuff.
father was maybe a soccer player or whatever it was.
And then he became his coach, and then he became really... And it's like, well, I was playing World of Warcraft when I was... So it's like, why the comparison? You know what I mean? Of course I can't get that, But is that too easy? Is that a too easy cop-out?
Like a cop-out.
It's like, okay, so it's got to be closer to you. So it's
Right. Okay, think about your own personal life, Nathan. I mean, I know you're not that type of person, but is there ever a moment where you're whether it's in your professional life or just friendship group or something where you've been that's cool. What they have is cool. That's something I'm interested in and they have it, or...
Okay, here's one. I don't know how I'm going to have to learn here. It's what I was trying to think. I'm going to have to break it down.
Yeah.
So, direwolves, right?
Okay.
We're at the top of our region, but in comparison to other regions, just purely, I mean, we can't play against other regions. We're just in this region. We're just, stuck here because of the, the ping, all that sort of stuff, right? So it's I feel like if we were in NA, you know, we could have been like on that rise with all Cloud9 and C9, all that sort of stuff when Dials was formed and stuff, right? So it's sort of like, well, they got into the right place at the right time in the right region. And I sort of just tried to make the best I could in OS, you know? And we become those dominant
and that,
teams
like, in a way that made you could have easily viewed that in a negative way.
Yeah,
right.
it's like, oh, God damn it. Like, you know, like you see like the first investments, like, oh, Reggie's like a millionaire. It's like, I was like the same position as like Reggie, but in OS in a smaller region, right? So it's sort of like RNG, I guess. So it's like, well, you know, like what happens if Reggie was me and then I was him?
Yeah, what would
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
I know
it's
what you
like,
mean.
God damn it. But yeah, I mean, I just made the best of it. And but that was cool. Like what we liked being small. Because we had more flexibility and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
and I think we
viewed it as like
we had more control.
Yeah, we had more control.
Then I think people in NA, the orgs are so big, you just don't have the creative control.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess that's like the only
Right.
example I can think of in my life where like that's.
And so the
that's
way
like
you
a
tackled
thing.
it was that, break it down, the way you tackled it.
So
Why it didn't affect you?
well, there's
That's literally as simple as
no
that.
point in
There's no
questioning
point.
it. What's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah, that's what similar response. Yeah,
That's
what's
as
the
simple
point?
it is. Like, you know, I'm having my fun in OS. Like, it's a small little community. Like, we're just having a
But
great
it's
time.
simple as that, right? But the execution's very different. For you, Nathan,
Yeah.
it's so intuitive. It's just like, what's the point?
Yeah.
But for other people, it's just not.
Just move on, dude. Just go about it. It's like, okay, here we
Right.
go. You know, we're just trying to make the best. We're going to international. Like, you know, we're getting destroyed. Like, we had to like solve problems that like these teams didn't need to solve. Like, they had like access to imports and was really good talent, and we're just sitting here just trying to make doing our own solo queue.
Yep.
But that was like a fun challenge, though. Like,
Right.
I view that as a fun challenge.
So now tying back to the people you've had in the Soul 2, who've had this issue,
Yeah.
how would you now, like, you know, having that we've put this all on the table, how would you articulate it? Bringing it to a more close to home example of someone comparing themselves to others, or they got this rank doing this. How would you break that down?
How would I break that down? So someone's saying someone else is higher ranked than me but doesn't do anything that I do. Is that sort of the question?
I mean, I'm assuming you get something along those lines in the Soul 2. Have you had something like that before?
Not that I really know.
Right. So not many people compare.
Oh, I mean, they didn't maybe say it or talk about it, but comparison, comparing reviews.
Maybe I'm doing a poor job as a coach because I get I wouldn't say a metric ton, but I get
So
quite
you
a few.
talking about comparison in like the game to game or like overall journey?
Both.
Okay.
I would say I get people who lose to someone and then, okay, I think we bring up that X person scenario. I think this is the kind of flow on,
Okay.
because this is someone from my program.
Yeah.
And I think and this is exactly what the problem is, okay? And then we riff on this because I feel like there's a lot here and people will probably resonate.
Well, if anyone was just come to me saying so for example, I think we've spoken a bit about Calvin, right?
Right.
He's a long-forming soul spammer, and he has the negative self-talk saying, I'm dog shit. It's like that
Yep.
healthy gamer example. Like, I'm dog shit, I'm in NA, I'm D4, and that means I'm just super dog shit, right? Oh, because also all his friends are like Grandmaster as
Yep.
well, right?
Yep.
So he always says, it's just unbelievable his self-talk,
okay,
right?
yeah.
And it's
How do you
like,
tackle that?
How do I tackle that? Well, that's a great question. I just don't. Like, I'm struggling with it at the moment. but it's like, well, I mean, he's sort of been role swapping a lot. Like,
It just makes sense, right?
yeah.
Everything makes sense.
Yeah, like at the beginning of the season, remember he did that thing. He didn't 3-block.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we are working through it. We're slowly. He knows the whole process. He just like doesn't like do it because he's just like. You know, because let's say that's like a thing. People have like so much time in the day, they can't commit to 3 blocks because they're like,
Yeah.
well, I can't do anything else. I might as well just play leagues and then play
Right.
10
There's
game
always an
blocks.
excuse.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it makes sense. Even with him, I break it down to him, and it makes sense. But you know, but then it's like it's easy to look at like a couple of days or a couple of 3 blocks in isolation and just view yourself as. But the whole process needs to be there for months,
For months. Yeah.
years.
Yeah. But then they'll say, but they didn't do that. And what's your response to that?
That's difficult. I mean,
I mean, it's important. We got to be able to. It is our responsibility, Nathan, to have a succinct answer to that question. Just like in Direwolves with King, who asked that question. So this is exactly what it is. Let's read this.
Okay, let's read this.
Because this is like to clarify exactly the problem. This will make the problem very clear.
Let's go.
I'm not going to name names. I'm just going to read it out. This is someone from my Midland Academy.
Everyone's gonna be like trying to work it out. And like, who is it? Who is it, guys? Who is it?
Okay, so basically he says this. He says, look, you've set me learning objectives. They're great. But I feel like when you set me a learning objective, I don't see how it's going to make me win more games. And he says, yes, I can see how it puts my jungler in a better position, but it still feels like I'm giving my jungler just more opportunities. But end of the day, it's still up to them to make the right decision. And therefore, in a way, I'm giving them another opportunity to fuck up. So I guess what I'm trying to type is, it's really similar to your Direwolf scenario where it was King who asked, why are we doing all these things in the organization when, the other team is just chilling and they're still almost beating us.
Yeah.
And he feels as though this whole process thing is good, but there's other players out there that are just pressing play again and doing better than him. And he always gets the sense that he just can't be helped. And after each day of solo queue, he starts to progressively feel more hatred towards himself, towards the game, towards everything in life, except for Jim, because he likes feeling pain and he wants to get laid.
Great reasons.
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes on a little bit about his background here. I don't think we need to go through all of this, but essentially he quit baseball when he was 14, and his cop-out excuse was that he wanted to focus on academics. Blah, 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 he says. And then he went through school doing really well. He graduated third in his class. His parents were really proud. He's in college. He's saying he's doing pretty well. He's got some good friends, good grades. But now he's 2 years in. He's feeling miserable. And he's embarrassed to say it, but he wants to go pro. And he refers to like Wooden and David Goggins, all these people where like process is the main focus. But he gets the sense that each solo queue loss is like this huge setback. Like every loss is pain, like a lot of pain, because it's making him further away from his goal. And he says if he could press Twisted Fate R in real life, he would be sitting in a gaming chair on stage, completely obliterating Showmaker. However, sometimes I think about how upset my parents would be if I didn't continue with my science and stuff like that. A degree is basically a guaranteed job, but esports is far from that. And I don't even think I'm even remotely close to professional level performance in-game and out of game. And it's just that he says he doesn't really care about the risk, but his parents would. And that's what's eating him up inside. So essentially he just makes himself feel really guilty. So this guy, obviously he is dealing with a lot of stuff mentally. And whenever he loses, because he's been following the process, he has a great review process. He plays 3 blocks. He has a small champion pool. He's ticking all the boxes and he's still not getting anywhere. So I see a problem like this, dude. And this is a very hard question to answer.
Well, the default thing that always goes through my mind is the power of habits over long term. So that's the key one. I mean, I don't know how long has he been doing this for?
He's done the 3 blocks and the small champ pool and the reviews, for months.
Yeah, so maybe he needs to chip away certain things. Months is not long enough, like honestly.
Okay, look, I just don't think we go down that rabbit hole. Because again, he's just going to compare to others who are not doing that.
No, but you got to get the long-term mindset for every aspect of your life. Because even like the example for like the Maserati, like or something like that, right? Even if you were to break down like exactly what that person did, you might not be able to...
You might not get the same result, right?
Like let's say, for example, for your YouTube channel, you feel like if you were to start now, you couldn't get...
It would be much harder.
It would be much harder.
Much, much harder.
And someone could do exactly what you did.
And still fail.
Right? So, but if they sort of did somewhat around what you did, they should get... Maybe they still won't, but they'll get close. Or maybe even if they did it, like you did it in like a year, but maybe it takes someone 6 or 7 years. So it's like, it's going to be different, like your own journey, but... You got to commit. You got to love the process. Yeah, that's the thing. You have to love the process. He doesn't love it, yeah. What he wants is I feel like when I read that is he wants to be like, the process, it's going to be shit. I'm on stage with Showmaker. Oh, thank God, I don't need to worry about this process anymore. Is that
Okay,
I
yeah, I can
that's
see that.
it. I swear that's a huge part of it, Curtis. I swear to God,
Right.
because that's how people frame it. It's like
Right.
it's like they get to the rank and they relax. But that's what I talk about. You know, it's like in the last episode talking about when we get back to the gym.
Right.
And it just doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't
because
mean
you have
anything.
to keep at the process. You have to keep at the habits. The process is it. It's not the result.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I 100% see where you're coming from. And you're probably
I'm super
right.
passionate
Yeah,
about
yeah.
this mindset because, again, more and more, like I've lost the process and everything on my main
Yeah.
account when I've dropped like I'm on 400 LP now. And now I'm just on my Smurf making my Diana guide, right? I've just moved to guides now.
But he hasn't got a result though.
But he hasn't got a result. But yeah, but he needs way longer.
Which is way longer.
Way longer than the average person. That's fine. Be a little special case.
Right.
Like, you know?
Look, I agree with you.
But I wouldn't even say the average person because even breaking it down, so he's in Diamond, right?
Yep.
You know how I think last episode we said it was the top 5%. It's lower than that. It's like 2% or something. This is hard shit, dude. Like the way League of Legends works is there's got to be losers to be winners. Like he's going to be, if he wants to climb high, he needs to be top 1% of players. It's ridiculous. It's disrespectful to think you're going to do it in a couple of months. Like I hate that. That pisses me off. Like you got to be at this for, if you want to get to that level. Like, you know, that guy felt like he beat, he probably has been playing League since season 2 or some shit. There's players there that you don't know about that. They've been playing for a long time and all this is down muscle memory and stuff.
And there's also players that have done it for this long and failed and are stuck in platinum that you never hear about.
That's right.
We do it. No one
Yeah,
talks
that's
about
right.
that.
Yeah, who autopilot. No one talks about that.
No one talks about all the other people that have autopilot and stuck in gold. They're there.
And let's say when I talk to Calvin and stuff like that, when we break things down, get into the details, like I've done thousands of jungle reviews. I can systematically break down every mistake, every fundamental in for jungling. I mean, there's not even that many of them, right? If you follow these and you do them consistently, there's challenger level game, but beautiful League of Legends, and this is everything. It's you got to get all these things into muscle memory and the mental stack, but it's there. You know, like, but you got to chip away at it for many, many months, many years.
Okay. Look, I got an analogy that will, I think, describe what I think he's going through. I think you're spot on. But, okay. There's a difference between rocking up and doing it versus doing it well. So, yes, he's doing the 3 box. He's doing the process.
That's the other thing as well. That's actually a huge aspect.
I don't think he's actually doing it.
There is some people that be like, they feel like they're doing it. It's like all right,
with anything.
Easy example. You go to the gym and you do a half-ass workout versus you feel like you can do the next weight. You're like, I'll just take it easy today.
Yeah, you just do the baseline.
That's the exact same thing.
It's the exact same thing, right?
Legends, yes.
But what I feel is that what is preventing him from giving his max effort is this constant mental baggage. So the way
the mental baggage is what was it?
So in a way, so all this stuff about like, okay, he's got these pressures from his parents. He's got this huge ambitious goal. He's got comparing with all these other people and their results that they get. There's all this stuff that's running in the background. Like, and the way I view it is kind of like Task Manager. And like you go to the task manager and there's all these fucking processes going on, right? Yeah. And his computer's slow as fuck, right? He's got all these processes running. All these applications that are running in the background.
Versus like that 16-year-old kid that can just play.
No, not even 16. Even that 20-year-old kid that just has responsibilities. Is just chill. It's happy. Chill. Maybe they're happy in their life. They're really present in the moment. They're doing great. And they just play free flow.
Play 18 hours a day as well. And just throw enough shit at a wall. Eventually it sticks.
Now that might be, it doesn't mean it's fair. Just the way it is.
Yeah.
So I believe way. Yes. Oh, I just said his name. Sorry. Mute that. No, he's going to mute that. You mute that.
I can't mute it in the thing. Yeah.
Mute it.
Everyone's going to be so angry now.
Yeah, it's funny. Okay, we'll mute that. Anyway.
That's the beauty of the editing.
That's the beauty of the editing. If we had a live audience, everyone like gasping.
Yeah, everyone been like, they must know it.
Oh, some people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's out of respect, you know.
That's
it's his
right,
privacy.
Of course, yeah.
So anyway, basically what I was saying, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought off that.
Yeah, you're derailed now.
I was saying basically something about how Yeah, so he's doing the process, but he's got all this stuff and running in the background essentially, right? Which is preventing him from getting max value from the process.
Yeah.
So if we would compare this guy doing the process, this guy who's running at max capacity, beautiful, like he's present in the moment, no expectations, just like he has a goal, but it's realistic and he's chipping away at
his
it.
task manager would be empty, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
his would be empty, right?
Yeah.
That guy's is empty, whereas this guy over
just
here,
have one
who's struggling in the
application
Midland Academy, the guys in the Midland Academy, his is full. Like he's got shit.
yeah.
The computer's running slow as hell. So he's only getting like maybe 10% or 20% value from the process. He's getting something. There's something there learning,
Yeah.
but it's very slow. He's going like one step at a time where this guy's going strides. He's going, 100 meters every block. So the way I view it, I mean, there's two ways. He can go your way, brute force it months, and that's your way.
6, 7,
but that's
8
your
years.
way,
That's
Nathan,
my
because that's
way.
you, because you're patient. You're a patient man. And look, I think he would get amazing value from that. I think the lesson that he would learn if he were to tread that path, and look, he might not ever achieve his goal that way. He might, who knows? Unlikely, very unlikely. But I think he would learn a valuable lesson if he were to follow that. Conversely, the other way he could go about it would be to try and delete these applications. Now, I don't know how to do that. I'm not qualified to know. I'm not a computer technician I don't understand the coding behind deleting these applications. Maybe that's where, for some people, I know some people in my Discord talk about CB, therapy and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe it's even simple meditation. But, or letting go, or maybe
meditation helps get rid of processes in the task manager.
Right. There are things that can be done. Or even like following that train of thought that we were saying before, how it truly internalizing the fact that everyone is on their own journey and that he is simply on his own journey and he may be quote unquote disadvantaged because of his situation. Figure it out. If you had to do it, what would it look like? And you being in your own head about how hard it is or how much pressure's on you and all this, if it were just not be, if you were to just let it go or just accept it, what would it look like? What would it feel like? And so I don't have the answer, but that is what is happening. That is what is happening for him. And tying back to the gym analogy, your way would be, let's just go to, as long as you're showing up to the gym and doing that shitty workout for months and months and months, you're going to get some results, and slowly over time, you're going to realize, oh shit, maybe I should actually.
You'll regret it, yeah. I was at the gym, I might as well. I'm playing the solo queue, I'm playing the 3 block, I might as well give my best effort.
Yep. But the dangerous thing about solo queue, you can go backwards by not doing it right.
That's the thing.
You can actually get worse.
Yeah, I guess gym you can't.
You can't really get worse unless you're doing poor form and you actually
injuring yourself and stuff.
I mean, I guess that's a perfect example then, isn't it?
Yeah.
We didn't really talk
poor
about that.
form and injuring yourself.
You actually can get worse.
Yeah.
Which is what leads to people just being stuck in a division. If you're not going anywhere, you're actually getting worse because everyone else is getting better.
That's right.
That's terrifying. That's absolutely terrifying.
Yes, it is, Curtis. Yes, it is.
So look, man, basically what I wanted to say was that, and this is going to tie into in a second, and I think this is where we're going to get into the weeds here. So we don't have the answer right now, but this next section of the conversation is, I think that's where we're going to get into the work here. We have a big responsibility here, Nathan. There's people that
Curtis, you're making it bigger than this. Now I'm pressured. Now I'm in his shoes.
It
now,
is.
You know?
It just is. It's a big. It is. This guy's miserable at the moment. I feel like we've got to figure this out.
All right, let's have a crack.
All right, let's have a crack.
Let's have a crack.
So, is there anything you wanted to add on before we dive in here?
It'll spring to mind when we get there, Curtis.
All right. So, I come to this thought the other day, and I said how I was saying to Nathan, we've got to talk about this. How people have a different league journey. They're straight up journey from when they start the game, they install the game for the first time, and where they are now. So the way I view it is that, we're all kind of trailing, we're creating our own path. And I view it as like kind of like the movie Jumanji?
Of course. The original one, the 80s
Yeah, the
one
original
or
one with
whatever.
Robin Williams.
Yeah.
and like you like roll the dice, and then you get like you get put in a situation.
Something spawns or
Something
something.
spawns. You got like a rhinos are chasing after you, or
Yeah.
you're a safari, whatever the hell happens, or spiders are there. Like everyone has their own journey to get the end. And
So it's like a game. It's like the dice rolling.
you roll the dice,
Good analogy, yeah.
and then you get there in the end. But the way you get there is very different in a way, right? And everyone has their own journey.
Yeah.
And so with League, I look at some people's experience with the game, and they come to me, they write to me, they tell me their story, and I'm thinking to myself, dude, I just never went down that path. I'm aware of it; it exists, but I never opened that door, and I never got close to opening it. I didn't even see the door.
rolled the 8, and you never landed on that part on the board.
Yep, I never went there. I skipped over that section, kind of like Snakes and Ladders in a way.
Yeah,
where like
you went.
I went over the ladders.
I mean, when we got high elo so quickly, we sort of just rolled 12.
Yeah, 12. Well, something went on there, and let's get into this, because I feel like there were other factors rather than luck.
Yeah.
It's not just luck rolling the dice.
Yeah,
That's an element of it.
Yeah.
That is definitely an element of it.
Yeah.
But there are other factors at play which influence the type of journey you're going to have in the game. Now, what I want to start off with, which is your experiences pre-league. It's very important to think about. What are your experiences before you've played League, whether it's in competitive sport, whether it's competitive in another area of your life? Were you naturally competitive in other areas of your life? Are you good at managing pressure? Have you been able to manage putting yourself in hard, difficult situations before in your life, whether it's academic? Are you very process-oriented? For example, my girlfriend is she knows how to learn. She really knows how to learn. And when she was telling about her story of studying at school, I'm like, I was speechless when she was telling her story. I'm like,
she like whole process.
So what she had a process of how to like get better at problems. So for her maths, right? With maths, she would have like a book with like the questions and answers, and then she would have a separate book, and she wrote out all of her mistakes, and then make notes on the mistakes, why she made the mistake.
Oh my God.
How amazing is that? She had a process.
It never even came to my mind that there was a process.
Yeah.
For me, it was just like, you just got to read it and memorize.
Exactly. No one taught us how to study, right?
Yeah.
So I was in awe. I was like, that makes so much sense why you killed it.
Yeah.
She absolutely killed it at school. I'm like, wow. I mean, no shit. I can't compete with someone like you. I didn't even know how to study.
No.
I couldn't tell you how to study.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is there is these experiences pre-league which influence the type of journey you're going to have. So Nathan, you had a very unique journey. What are some of your experiences pre-League of Legends that influence the type of journey that you had in the game? And also while you're at it, if you do know of any other members in your Soul 2, and maybe can share some of their, just reflecting on it now, I don't know, maybe you do or don't know, their experiences pre-League that maybe have influenced the type of journey they've had.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't want to get into the whole story.
The key moments.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, because we have an episode, I think it's called Our League Journey, or Our League Background. There's an episode of the podcast you can find.
I think it's one of the early ones, right?
I think it was like in the 30s or 40s, actually.
Right. Okay.
All right. So, introverted person equals staying home a lot, equals play video games.
Okay.
Equals not be higher up in the social hierarchy in school, equals don't go to parties. Again, all introvert.
Right.
Equals play video games. World of Warcraft was the game. Played the game a lot purely because of that. Got okay at it. Found the PvP arena. Uniquely found some interesting teammates who were very, very good at the game, much better than me. Learnt off them. Understood in games how it's like min-maxing and being really efficient. Every second counts. Apply that mind, and then go to Guild Wars. Apply that mindset. Get to the top of that. Again, PvP. I love competitive games. Don't play single player games anymore. League of Legends. Mindset min-max. One trick champion. Udia. Rank 2 challenger in like a season.
Yep.
And then get stuck in the pro scene environment, and just by nature of sheer around me, just constantly stay high elo or understand the game at a high level, and then rinse and repeat for 8-9 years. You know, can still maintain high elo now. But I had to go through a fucking shit. Like, I had lots of things that fucked me as well, being the one trick and Udi and the way that I viewed the game. But that's sort of like, those would be all my situations.
So we'll get to the league experiences themselves, but let's stick with the pre-league. So
pre-league.
Yeah, so there was other stuff. So that's incredibly similar to mine.
Yep.
I mean, I played a lot of games because for different reasons though. My family was very gaming oriented and super simple. Like I said, surrounded. I got very good at a game early on because I just played a lot of it from a very young age. Found it again. I was actually people that I aspired to play like in Counter-Strike because I played Counter-Strike. I had role models. I used to watch like montage videos of these Counter-Strike players that I loved.
Yeah, same for me for WoW.
Same for you, WoW. Then I surrounded myself with a bunch of elitist gamers in Counter-Strike that criticized me, and I just tried to push the boundaries of how good I could possibly get, and my expectation for myself was super high. Trained, and then again, very similar. Applied that mentality into League, which got me super high elo very fast. So we compare this with some other people. Now let's say we don't know, right? Let's compare some other journeys. Let's compare the possibility of some other journeys. Casual single player gamer.
Yep. Yeah. So those players would most likely be like my gold clients and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. Most of my high elo clients, they either played other games pretty competitively, or they've been playing League for a long time.
Yep. So yeah, they played other games to a very high level and just very good gamers. We've said this before, great gamers. And we'll probably have to do a whole nother episode on what a great gamer is and what they look like. I think we've kind of spoke about that before though. But notice that they've actually played a lot of games. There's some people that have actually been introduced to League as their first game. They literally have no other gaming experiences, which is you're at a huge disadvantage.
Wait, you think that's a disadvantage?
100%.
Wait, even if you started in like season 1, season 2?
If you didn't play other games before League, like you're just not a gamer, you're at a huge disadvantage.
Oh, correct. Yes. Yeah. You just straight go into the like.
Yeah, that was your first League. That was your like you went from PlayStation type thing
in like season 7 or 8 or 9 or something.
I'm not talking about the season. I'm just talking in general. Like if you hadn't played other PC games to compared if you hadn't taken, or literally, let's just say not even that. Let's say you hadn't even played other PC games before.
So you make competitive games or single player games?
Yeah, like multiplayer games. If you hadn't actually played like other multiplayer games before and taken it seriously, you're at a huge disadvantage. Period. I believe. Because you're just missing that. It's the mentality that's missing. There's a very different mentality that you have when playing a single player game comparatively to multiplayer. Especially when you're trying to get good at something. Think about all the games you tried that. You tried to be good at COD. You tried to be good at WoW. You tried to be good at Guild Wars. There was multiple games that you tried to get very good at. Same for me. So that was just a natural flow-on effect. Our pace of our gaming experiences, we knew intuitively things that did or didn't work in League. Because the game's a game. It's still multiplayer. You're versing other people. The mentality side of it is very similar.
Yeah, the mentality side was...
The mentality allows you to grow.
You can only have maximize... Like your there's a programming in these games, right? So my mentality was... You want to maximize every frame and movement and mouse click.
Same thing.
That's basically it.
Yep.
Right.
That's why I sat
you can apply that to every game.
It's like you sat there doing PvP grinding all the time, trying to figure out how to play the comps the most efficient way to use your abilities, canceling abilities, chain CC, all these little details. I'm sitting in my little practice tool in Counter-Strike,
skill shots, and
trying to only use one bullet for every headshot.
Yeah.
For years.
Yeah.
We're talking years. And if I didn't get one bullet, one shot, then in my mind, I'm trash.
Yeah.
That was my mentality.
Yeah.
So just natural progression going into game. We've just got a huge advantage.
Yes.
Okay? Straight up. So now we can compare that with some... Again, this is a healthy comparison. We're not to say we're better. This is just the reality.
This is our circumstances.
Our circumstances.
This is our journey.
And these are probably other people with very similar situations to me and Nathan here that are... They're the people that you verse... that are Diamond 1 every season or Master Tier every season with just, slapping their face on the keyboard, slamming their head on the keyboard. They can get to Master Tier because they're just great competitive gamers. Now, some people, like I said, they might have had zero gaming experience. Others only single player games. Some of them have actually probably even swapped. I've seen some people I've heard swap from PlayStation to PC. This was their first PC game.
Fascinating.
Never even played PC before that. They went from like COD on PC or whatever to straight, or Halo on Xbox, straight to League of Legends on PC because their friends started playing it. Stuff like that. Now you could even, there's so many things you could go, do you have a results oriented, like a growth mindset, fixed mindset, which I think obviously does affect you, but I think that doesn't affect you until way later on. That's like a way later on thing, which we'll probably come back to. Are you supported by your, friendship group? Yeah. Big one. Yeah. You had a friend, we both had groups, but online friends that we knew that were very good at games.
That's right.
And being good was like the thing.
It was like this baseline.
That's the baseline.
Standard, yeah.
Everyone there is very good at that game.
Yeah.
And you just don't, there's a way of, it's kind of like a cultural thing in a way, isn't it? Like that back then, like old school, early 2000s.
No, but Curtis, like that's not how the way it worked. Like my real life friends were not good.
Right.
I had to. I went on my own, and,
right?
Because no one else played World of Warcraft. It was just me. So then I got associated with online people from America and stuff.
Well, so we both spent a lot of time online talking to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's just say your friendship group online were casual gamers. So let's say you come from a RuneScape background or whatever the hell you come from. And
yeah, I mean, like I could have easily played the games with my. I mean, this is the core thing. Like I could have played the same games that my real life friends, because that's usually the way it works, doesn't it?
Right. You don't play with
the same.
You play
games
with your school friends, not with like your online friends.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. But I mean, I was just the even extreme introvert that even my friends as well. It's like I wanted to be alone doing my own thing.
You didn't even play with your friends.
No, I didn't even play with my friends. But I could have easily like been that though,
and that would have influenced.
Yeah, how good you were. No way I'll be in this position that I would be.
No way.
No,
because they were just casual gamers.
That's right.
Yeah.
So then I would be playing those type of games.
So there's other people there that are in their league journey. They had a bunch of casual gamer friends or friends that didn't even play games. So you were either feeling ashamed for taking games seriously or not encouraged to take games seriously.
Yeah. Well, because, it's like, especially in high school and stuff, it's like a social thing. Like, you're going to want to maintain these relationships. If sometimes as well, games aren't fun playing by yourself. Like that's what we sometimes we see a lot with League of Legends, the duo queue thing. It's like some people say they just don't enjoy not playing duo. Yeah. That's just a certain type of player, right?
Right. So look, I don't think we go on any further here. The point of this early pre-league experience was to think about it.
Yeah.
This is something that you should think about. And these are things that you maybe, you do have a friend that is very good at the game, like your Calvin, his friend's Grandmaster every season, whatever it is. Ask him a little bit about his pre-league, if you care, if that's what's really important to you and you want to get out of this toxic mentality that you're in, maybe ask him a little bit. Just like you would ask Warren Buffett what influenced him to... He has a story about how he got into trading as a kid. Yeah. He started trading little things when he was like a kid. Whatever. Anyway. Now let's talk about early league experiences.
This is an interesting
Very, very interesting. Now, I think this is what really shapes... I believe this is, out of all the parts of the journey we're going to, talk about here... This is like before you start the game of Jumanji, right? This is like your experience before you've actually bought the board game here. Yeah. Now we're talking about your first roles, like your first role, your first two roles of the game. What are they like? In Jumanji, if your first role was like this crazy, terrifying experience, maybe that would affect the way you interpreted the game. Maybe in a healthy way or a negative way. We'll get to that. Conversely, you had a sunshine and rainbows first role, and you're like, oh, cool, you avoid the issue. Maybe again that could be viewed as positive
so maybe
or negative.
It's like you picked up a champion that you loved, one tricked that to high elo, and then you were just around high elo, like diamond for.
Okay, let's break that down.
Is that an example?
Okay, before we even get to, let's get to again friendship groups and the people you play. Did you even or lack thereof
specifically
for league specifically? Did you play at the start of your league journey? Did you play with friends or did you not play with friends? And if you did play with friends, how seriously did they take the game? And what was your relationship with them like? How toxic were they? What were the messages they were spreading? What was the culture like between your friendship group? These are all great quality questions.
Yeah, they are. That's very important.
Now, the theme between me and you, Nathan, both loner gamers.
Yeah.
We were alone.
Yeah.
I leveled to 30 by myself in bot games. Do you know how many games that is by myself? Grinding by myself. No one, not a single person to talk to. No music.
No.
Nothing. I literally...
That's crazy. Why? I can't believe that. That's pretty nuts to me.
No friends.
I got into League from my World of Warcraft friends. Yeah.
You know how incredible that is? And all my friends, the people that I added on the game in my first year of playing League were just randoms that I just popped into a game with.
Yeah.
And I can remember distinctly talking to this random when I was like, this is before I was level 30, like why is Trinimir so strong? Like I remember like distinctly like these moments.
You became a Trinimir player early on.
Yeah, and I played Trinimir. And that was from normal games and bot games, right? So both of you and I solo gamers. We didn't have a friendship group to play with, only solo queue, never duo basically, or like just by ourselves.
Yeah.
Right?
And even when we played League, we were pretty by ourselves as well.
I mean, we would occasionally play like Twisted Tree Line together or whatever, but it's like you were just doing your rank thing and I'm doing my rank thing, and then we'll just compare results at the end. It's like, where are you at? Where am I at?
Yeah.
And we never really like compared the way we did it.
No, but I never cared because I always thought I was just better than you. Yeah. I thought World of Warcraft was... Yeah. It's funny going back to the thing talking about superior. I thought it was the superior game because it's closest to League of Legends, right? But then you had your whole thing about skill shots and stuff, which is, I didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
But that's true, right? So, but yeah, even then we didn't, like, I didn't give a shit that because you were diamond on an NA.
Because the way it works is I was higher than you. Yeah. And that what inspired you to be like, fuck, I got to like get better than Curtis type thing, right?
No, it wasn't. No, for me, it was Guild Wars didn't become an esport. So like, fuck, I might as well just go to the league, right? And then, because it was like the biggest esport, and I was like...
No, but then you saw that I was diamond, so in your mind, it's like... Yeah. That would have probably influenced you.
To be honest, I didn't really think about it, no.
Right.
I was just like, I'm just going to jump to this game. It's a pretty big game.
Right. Fair enough.
Because when I climbed as well, my first climb, it's a challenge. You weren't even playing the game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I stopped. I went back.
Because you were studying and shit like that.
Yeah, I quit for a bit.
Because when I did it was...
Yeah, I didn't play that much that year.
That was like term 3 of the year 12.
Yeah, that was the year where you grinded a lot and I didn't play that much.
It was just
because it was exams.
It was term 3. Yeah. Exams where I should have been studying, but I didn't. So yeah, again, I would say we like even more extreme as well. I didn't even compare nothing.
Even between me and you, yeah.
Even between me and you.
So that's something to note. Now, other people, they have a bunch of casual gamer friends who they play norms, and then they get like all in their little group, and they only duo queue.
That's right.
From the start of their league experience, when they first started playing solo queue. They would compare and talk and duo and stuff like that. Again, that might positively affect some people. If you had a very competitive, people asking good quality questions type group, other people, it could have negatively impacted you. Maybe you were the lowest skilled one in the game and they actually put you down. Again, these are all early experiences which shaped your identity and the way you viewed yourself as a League of Legends player. That's very possible. Potentially. These things to reflect on.
Yep.
Other ones here, champions and roles that you mained.
This is a big one.
Big one for you?
Yep. That made... I mean, again, it's all relative, right? But that definitely made my view of the game... I just thought tanks were superior. Like,
at the time, they kind of were.
I think they were, yeah. They were, especially in the jungle. Yeah. And that really... When I came back to learning the game, in Season 9... I had to learn damage champs and I really struggled. Yeah. I had to break down so many mental barriers and ways I viewed the game.
So this completely shaped your league experience forever. Changed your league journey forever.
Yeah.
But it could have been, you can view it in a positive way though, because maybe you never would have, if you had actually tried to change your style earlier, you tried to diversify and tried to be like that all-round player and you never had a clear identity, then maybe you never would have got that rank 2 challenger. And you wouldn't have been...
That's correct, yes, that's correct.
So there's always trade-offs, right? You got to that rank you did, which got you in that niche, high elo community, which then started you to think about the game in a certain way because you're versing better quality opponents, so on and so forth, right? Now, conversely, we see this all the time, right? People they started the game, learnt it through the lens of, Shyvana jungle or Yi jungle. Warwick jungle or Vladimir mid lane or Katarina mid lane. And I'm like... And we talk to these people and the problems they experience in the game. And I'm like, I can see why you're there. I can see the path that led to that scenario. But I just never had that. We never had that I mean, you might have in a
I
way.
did,
You
yeah.
kind of resonate with that, but I
The
never.
AFK farming mindset was
Right.
definitely a thing. Yeah.
But I
the
never.
Shyvana and stuff.
Yeah, because I never played champs like
You were
Vlad
very
and
free flow. You played a lot of things.
I played a lot of champs.
You
played every role
you
basically
carry,
as well.
You played. No, you didn't really play tanks though. Maybe you struggled with. I mean, you
No,
never
I did.
had to.
No, I did. Remember when I
What?
played top? I was the Maokai god.
That's true. You
I
picked
played
that up
every
pretty
role,
quickly.
every style of play.
Yeah.
When I first climbed, so I looked actually back. So I remember in NA when I climbed to the highest in Diamond 1 in NA.
That was with Hecarim.
Hecarim jungle, Kale. I think it was like Hecarim jungle, Yorick and Kale top lane, and then like Janna support and Cassiopeia mid. I was playing like multiple roles.
Yeah,
I could play
interesting.
multiple roles.
And then you switched to like being a mid lane, only skill shots.
And then I had a very clear identity. Based off me and what I liked about the
Ziggs and
game, I went to
Xerath
like Ziggs, Xerath, control mages, and that was my identity, right? But before I decided on that, I played every role, every champ. I played a lot of different champions till I found my identity, right? But that I think shaped my very holistic view of the game. That's what made me a very cerebral player, and I think that's why I gravitated towards mid lane, because it's the cerebral role. You're in the middle of the map. Again, if I had actually maybe fell down the rabbit hole, one of my friends told me, Curtis, you got to play Riven. You got to play Riven. If you play Riven from the start, he's OP. You got to carry with Riven. Maybe that would have shaped my entire. If I had these early influences, maybe that would have shaped.
I mean, you never really had that one trick mindset, did you?
Never.
You never did.
Never. I don't know why I just didn't.
Yeah.
So again, if you had someone in your friendship group that told you to play a certain role, or maybe you played a certain role, maybe you played AD carry for the first few seasons, and you never felt the need to be cerebral about the game because both you played jungle, I played mid, going from, like, it facilitates a certain way of viewing the game, doesn't it? Like, you kind of got to be cerebral because you jungle impacting the entire map. Mid lane, you're in the center of the map and you got to roam and stuff like that. Imagine if you're an AD carry player, you played AD carry for like 5 seasons. And you're like, oh shit, I actually like want to learn more about the game. You're at a disadvantage. Maybe.
But you're good at some
But you're good
things.
mechanically.
Yeah.
Again, it's very complex.
Yeah.
And then we've got there's a big one. Probably the biggest one here is early influences.
Yeah.
Who influenced you in the game? Did you watch a streamer that you watched and the way maybe you saw like I know you were a big Hotshot GG fan in season 2 or whatever it was. Who influenced you?
Did you join Reddit communities and Discord
Or
communities?
TeamSpeak or whatever.
Very early on.
I don't know.
That maybe shaped your view and stuff of things.
That's a great question. For you, I personally, I didn't have any.
I didn't follow anyone.
Zero.
No. I figured everything out myself.
Me too, yeah. That's, again, there's a lot of commonalities between your early league experience and mine. Even though we didn't even talk about this,
No.
we just happened to stumble in and went to the same direction. I don't know why. Strange. And again, and the point of this whole exercise, guys, what we're going to do, we're really getting into the details here. We're doing the work. This is the sort of thing no one talks about.
You're either
We
good
just
at
see
the
the
game or shit at the game.
You're either, we look at the end result, we look at where they're at now and what they're able to do
Yeah.
now, not what got them to that level or what gave them that skill set. And this is, I think, Nathan, what we intuitively understand. This is what you and I, when we compare, this is what we understand. Everything, again, I tie back to that quote, everything makes sense. If something doesn't make sense, your view of reality is that you just don't have enough information. Everything makes sense. Does that...
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about the way that, even if it makes sense why now I sort of can play damage junglers, like Rek'Sai
Right.
was really high win rate, especially last season and stuff. Like these champs I would never... Because I had to completely change my view and put in ridiculous amount of... Like more games than the average player to try and fix these things for myself. So it's like, okay, well, that sort of makes sense why I was able to... I would never be able to do it unless I put in all those games and failed a lot and really messed up and made basic mistakes. So what were you saying, Curtis?
So, I think you said something. I can't remember exactly what it was. But anyway. Yeah, well, I was saying, how does that resonate with you, just the way I described that way of viewing it? That everything makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that how you, like, subconsciously, whether it's consciously or subconsciously? I'm trying to psychoanalyze myself, and I don't want to put you in the same basket. I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, so this is we're trying to answer the question like why we don't care about comparison.
Well, why is it not a core? Why is it not really a big problem for us on our own solo queue climb? There's people higher elo than us.
Yeah.
Doing it in less games
Yeah.
with no process. Yeah. Why does it not bother us? Well, I think that look.
Well, I mean, for me, I can't get good at the game anymore unless I really break things down and have a process and stuff.
But why does that not bother you then?
Why does that not bother me?
But this is what I'm saying.
Because just the way the world works, you got to know what's going on. You just got to know what's going on. Like I can't autopilot. Like if you autopilot, you're gonna get inconsistent results, even in real life and everything like that, right? Like let's say you become like a millionaire, you have no idea how it happened, and then you go broke. You're not gonna know how to replicate it.
Yeah, you don't know, right?
So that's the thing. It's like, well, if I'm going to have long-term results and have a great relationship with the game, I need to really break everything down.
Yep.
Like, I need to get into the details.
And
there's no other way.
There's no other way.
Show
me the other way. Even if they got it, I can't do that. So what? I either quit the game and don't play the game.
Yeah, there's no other way for me. Yeah, I'm not the mechanically talented player. Like, I'm not an old boomer. That's a fixed mindset. But, you know, this is the only, like, I don't complain about it. It's just the only way.
Well, but the other way is, the way I view it, Nathan, is that the skill set that you develop through doing it this way.
Yeah, it's great. It's fun, man.
It will follow on to other things.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The mentality that you're going to instill.
The discipline and the long-term thinking. I love long-term. I'm not a big fan of long-term.
Okay. Going on. So now we've gone through your potential pre-league experiences. We've gone through potential early league experiences. Now, we all have problems, right? Problem challenges that we face during our early, going from kind of, you got the basics, you got a main role now, you're rock and rolling, you're starting to climb. This is still earlier on-ish in your journey. Now, we're going to face some challenges. Now, when you have a challenge or a problem, the duration of the problem that you face, I think, has a huge influence on the journey you have as well. So to be more specific, if you are stuck at Platinum 4, say Platinum 4, you're stuck, no matter, now it's been, say there's one player who's stuck at Platinum 4 for a year versus one player who's stuck at Platinum 4 for 3 years. This period of time severely impacts your relationship with the game and the type of journey you're going to have. The duration of the problem, because I think it affects your perception of the game, and it affects the way you view yourself as a player. What do you think about that, Nathan?
Well, how do you explain the people that don't really get stuck at any rank, and then they just slowly go down and down and down each season?
Yeah, they might have the same problem. Maybe it's not a rank. It's the same problem, but they're just getting worse because the problem is it's easily punished comparatively to other seasons. And if you're not getting better, you're getting worse.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the same. I think it's still bad, right? Yeah. Like you still have this problem and it's there. Like you're not getting better.
Yeah.
Right. So like what I'm getting at here is that if you were to identify what the issue is as fast as possible, you're going to minimize the amount of damage that you're going to incur with your relationship with the game. And I've seen some people, they've just been, like they say to me, I've been Diamond 4 for X amount of seasons, and I know I've got my work cut out for me. It's just, I already know where this conversation is going to lead, and I know exactly how the reviews are going to look, and I know the type of problems they're going to have after the review, and I know what the second review is going to look like, and I know what they're probably going to be saying to me in a month's time from now. It's like I can literally pinpoint it. This sort of person has been stuck at this rank.
So they've got all these invisible narratives and everything that we talk about.
Yeah, but they don't truly understand how hard it's going to be to get out of that hole.
So is this a good analogy? You've been smoking for like 30 years.
Right.
You've like got so much damage. You can get healthy again.
Yeah.
But the damage is there? Is that a good analogy or not? Like you've done the same thing, you have the same habit.
But the problem with smoking is that like you can just like die. Like you've done so much damage, you just
Yeah, and that might be they would have to
Right.
like the damage with the game, the relationship with the
it's
game.
that bad.
So toxic
That's
of a player. I think they can't.
They're just done.
They die and they quit or they
Ah,
can't.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Or like they can't like sometimes we talk about some coaching clients we have. We feel like that anything we do can't help them.
Yeah, there are some I mean, I don't like saying that because I feel like we're just bad coaches.
Potentially.
Like we're just not experienced enough to
Yeah.
deal with those clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Maybe.
not then,
Maybe.
not then.
Yeah. Look. Maybe. I think it's close. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. They've been doing this negative thing for a long time, and it's over time. It's accruing damage, and then at some point, like, okay, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna stop doing that. But the damage is done. Right. The damage is dealt. Yeah. I see what you mean.
It's like I always think
Yeah.
back to you love the Patrick example because he was like a fresh little newborn baby and
Right.
had been playing for a year.
And it's so malleable.
yeah, he hasn't got all these things built up and
Yeah. Yeah.
because you know what I find is that like let's say you like get to let's say a really long term player that's been like around the same elo for years and they've never like improved, right? They like I've always viewed those people they've like resulted to like being on Reddit and like those one trick communities and they sit there and they become like experts in like a little solid like but they're like comfortable and like they have all these narratives that from other people. It's like why they're a certain rank. It's like toxic teammates, you know, matchmaking, you know, not dodging or sort of stuff. Like I feel like the more time you're exposed to the league community, the worse sometimes as well.
Yeah,
you know?
interesting. Yeah. It's kind of like esports as well. Like the longer you're in the esports scene, you get damaged, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's why I think players have such short careers.
Yeah.
So that's a part of it as well, is that
Yeah.
when you're in these team environments, like
You're getting beat down.
beat down.
You
And
know-
unless you're the one dictating the team environment,
Unless you're the one
best
dealing with
player.
damage, right?
you're,
Yeah, I mean,
that's why there's a huge turnover, and that's why there's 50% of the NALCS was gone this year. I mean, this is because the longer you're in esports,
You know what's interesting? I actually got a question that ties into this really interesting.
Yeah.
Someone else like, why don't? Because I got asked, I was going to do a collab with Peck and Wolf ages ago, and someone asked me like, how come you don't want to coach Peck and Wolf? I didn't say I didn't want to, but that was the way the question was framed, and I said, look, to be honest with you, a player like Peck and Wolf, I can't help him. You know, not, and this is not to say, it's nothing to do with Peck and Wolf as an individual. It's that type of player.
yeah,
They're an old school player that has played since season 1.
Yeah.
They have grinded game after the thousands, tens of thousands of games over years. And they're just sitting at like the people that are already kind of like, you know, low challenger, like they're those clients specifically. It's kind of like the way I view it is
they would have to be really ready. Like you would have to.
They would have to beg me to coach type. They would have to be so hungry for it for me to want to coach.
And
a
like
client
show that they're trying different things themselves or something like that.
Well,
I mean, it's like that. There's a famous saying: you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah, spot on.
That's the reason why that saying exists.
And I think this is what this basically is in a way, isn't it? That's basically what we're tying on here. The longer, in a way, you've had those problems, the worse it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like as well. I mean, just like anything. Okay, so 2 things. They say that the best, like nowadays, when it comes to high performance, the whether the tennis players in the new generation or swimmers or football players, whatever it is, they get coached from a very young age. They get coached the right way. So there is no time for them to instill poor habits.
That's right.
So you get a player of X sport that was taught kind of intuitively, right? They are much harder to coach. Even if they start their coaching later on, they're much harder to get things the right way. And look, John Wooden talks about this. Sometimes you just got to let them do their way.
Sometimes their way is fine.
Some their way is fine, but they're not going to be able to play the game the way you want them to play it. They're just not. Peck and Wolf isn't going to be able to play the game that I want, but it doesn't mean he might figure it out a different way. But I still feel as though this, when it comes to coaching, you know, people, they wait until they get to like this situation where they're stuck for years before they get coaching. Like, there's no harm in getting coaching earlier on to make sure you're doing it the right way.
That's right.
Well, that's what people don't realize. It's better for you. If you're unsure on the fence, just get coaching once. Or, you know, from a good
Then
quality
you start
coach.
thinking about
You
some
start
things.
thinking about things in a different way. Rather than getting yourself in a hole, like you're kind of go into a different hole at least. You know, you're not getting too deep.
Yeah, early on in my league career, I would have loved.
Imagine how good it would have been.
I mean, but I would have probably been too stubborn. I think I would have been uncoachable.
No, I don't think so, Nathan.
You don't think so?
No, I think if you actually had someone you respected, you would have definitely.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It couldn't have been like a normal coach, like a
Okay.
normal esports coach. It would have had to be like a really good
Pro
player.
or something.
Yeah, very good pro player.
Yeah.
What the hell was that, dude?
Don't worry, it's a sound in my apartment.
It's terrifying,
Yeah,
dude.
it gets louder and louder.
No way.
Yeah, no, it's bad. It's like the Babadook or something.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
We're in Nathan's new apartment here
That's
today.
right,
New
yeah.
setup.
Yeah. Speaking of new setup, Curtis, we forgot to mention your new beard.
Oh, yeah.
dude.
Talk about new beard.
You're gonna be like, "What's going on?" Is that people are probably looking at it? Is like, is that?
The new
Am I
look.
seeing things? Like, is that new or is
It's
it
a
always have
special
that?
effect.
It's a special.
Yeah, it's edited in. Nathan edited it.
Just like I had to edit out the name of the individual earlier. Curtis giving me more work.
Yep. All right, moving on. Anything else to talk about this one? Duration. And for the people, by the way, there's plenty of people listening to this that have played the game for a long time and maybe have had so it doesn't mean you're unfixable,
No.
but it means you've got to accept reality. This is
Yeah.
the whole point of this, that your journey is going to be harder.
And different to other people.
And different, yes. Or it could be better.
Yeah.
It could be better.
Yeah. Sometimes if you can get out of a hole, sometimes the amount you learn from that, it's amazing.
Because you have this unique perspective, all
Yeah.
this experience that you've soaked up intuitively.
Yeah.
Okay, other ones here. So now I we've spoken a little about, pre-league, early league, some problems that you're going to face. Tying onto this problems thing, this all ties into the journey. I kind of feel as though I've seen a commonality or a trend between, and this is something I've just heard from my clients, problems in game being an extension of problems that they face in real life. So I had someone I'm working with at the moment who is trying to learn Zed. And, we've been doing some reviews and I took a look at a game recently. And he said to me, Curtis, look, recently upon reflection, the way I've done this learning Zed journey, I've faced the exact same problem in my professional life. So when something gets too hard, he starts like trying to rush it. And
Looking for shortcuts.
Not really just accepting that he can't solve this
He just
problem
wants
right
to
now.
get over the finish line. Like, oh, thank God. No respect for the process or anything
Right.
like that.
Now, I think this is a perfect segue before, just a bit of a sidetrack here. So I'm actually learning Kiana. You motivated me, Nathan. We're at the gym the other day, last week. You said, Curtis, we're learning Diana. I'm getting out of my comfort zone. I'm doing it, right? So I thought to myself on the way home, I was like, look, I got to get out of my comfort zone, and something I've been procrastinating for a long time was doing this Kiana guide. So I said, fuck it. Kiana's not even as strong anymore. Prowler's got nerfed. She actually got, she's actually not as strong anymore. Probably picking it up at the worst possible time. So it's like hard mode. It's going to be brutal. So I started it. I over the weekend, very limited again. I only played like 2 or 3 games, whatever it was. And I was streaming some of these games on my Discord. And it's just shocking. Like, you would look at this gameplay and you would think this player is no way above Platinum. Platinum, they're maybe like a mid-plat player.
Yep.
Plat 1, max. And I think there was a guy in my Midland Academy who was watching it. And I think he was contemplating like role swapping because he like lost all this motivation. Like the mid's too hard for him and stuff like that. And he watched me. And I'm just talking, I went into the review and I've been doing my review process. I actually have a separate spreadsheet. This is exactly what I did for learning Zed. And I record every game. And I have my notes, and I just dot points, and then I get very specific, and I literally save all these replays, and I'll just look at the mistakes, key learnings. Brutal process. Really detail-oriented work. Brutal. And he was watching me do this, right? And he's like, oh, here we go, a basic mistake, not just rushing my combo or going in with no ultimate. Like, really basic mistakes.
Because he'll be like, this is what I do.
Yeah, this is what I do. I've seen these mistakes, right? And this is nothing very similar to my league experience. But it's like, wait, this guy's like, 1K LP challenger on the same server, right? And he's like platinum. What's going on here? But in a way, people forget that people start somewhere. I got to start somewhere.
That's right. You'll probably pick it up very quickly.
I'll pick it up faster, but look at where I'm at.
You look at where you're at, yeah.
And I'm breaking down my problems.
Yeah.
Now, in the past, I couldn't have done this. In the past, 4 years ago, I wouldn't do it. My ego would be too involved. I wouldn't know how to. I wouldn't even know how to start breaking down a problem. I would say I'm not talented. Those people who play piano, they're just good at those type of champions. Now look, I'm breaking this down systematically, and I'm going to chip away at it. I'm going to chip away at it. It's going to be brutal. It's going to take me a long time. I'll do my 100 games. I'll get there. And in the case of this guy learning Z, he was rushing it, not getting into the details, stubborn in his approach, forcing this should work rather than just being like looking at it. Why is this not working?
Yeah,
it's taking a step back.
Yeah.
And he says this in his professional life as well. So talking about problems, what I've noticed and what these people are starting to realize in my Midnight Academy is the problems are exactly the same in real life. Whether it's you're just low confidence and you're not taking the steps forward to break down why you're low confidence in this specific task, whether it's that you're result oriented with whatever you do, not process oriented, realizing that you're trying to do too much when sometimes doing less is more. There's all these commonalities between, because at the end of the day, a problem is a problem. Whether it's a professional problem, it's still a problem. And there's a way of breaking down these skills.
All that problem solving skill.
So I think this is an area. I mean, is there anything you wanted to add on to this? Like, have you seen this in your soul too with people? Have people brought this sort of thing up to you before?
Well, I mean, that's why I love sharing. I mean, I upload all my personal reviews, or for my main account at least. And just showing just like how just basic mistakes, you know, can be made even from high elo players, you know. So, but yeah, it's just the process. That's the thing. I don't care about the mistake itself. It's like breaking it down and fixing it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing that we teach and we, you know, and that we try and learn. And we're working on it all the time ourselves. And it's great that now that motivated, he was going to quit. Now it's like, oh, this is what it looks like. How about I try this? I love that. That's sort of like away from the point, but like, I do like, showing people that embracing the suck, you know, as we say.
Yeah, 100%. So anyway, so we've gone through all this. Is there anything else that we've missed here in terms of league journey? So we've spoke about the pre-league, early league experiences, friendship groups, champions you've mained, roles that you've mained, problems that you face and how long you've actually faced them for, role models, people that have influenced your view of the game and what solo queue is all about and your relationship with the game. And again, this ties into have you solo queued or duo queued your way through? Do you spam games or do you not play at all? Because again, some people, they're scared of ranked and they again, tying to the duration of the problem, they've been scared of ranked for 3 years. Same thing.
That's not going to change overnight. That's going to take a long time.
Yep. Is there anything else here you wanted to add?
That's a lot. That's great stuff, guys.
So,
you've pretty much covered it.
So this all ties together, tied out neatly with a nice little ribbon here. As you can see, before you jump to conclusions about that player that you're trying to compare yourself with, whether it's in the Mid-Lane Academy with someone getting brilliant results, whether it's someone in the Mid-Lane Academy who's getting no results, whether it's someone in the Soul 2 getting amazing results or getting no results, whether it's someone you verse in solo queue, you add them and say, what do you do? Nothing. I'm autopiloting and I'm better than you. Okay. This might be all this stuff here, this league journey. Their experiences, their life, their upbringing, pre-league, during league, how long have they been playing for, the champions they made, all this stuff.
It's fine, guys. Keep going.
All this stuff plays a part, doesn't it? Okay, so for those of you out there who are genuinely finding themselves comparing, low confidence, look at them and look at me, I'm a piece of shit, going through this thought process, going through this thought loop, I want you to take a second to reflect on this. I want you to take a second to think about your own league journey. Go through this experience, pre-league, early league experiences, some of the problems you faced and how long you had them for and how you dealt with them. All go through all and try with the mentality that it all makes sense. Okay.
And if it doesn't, you need to keep trying to figure it out.
And if it doesn't, there's something else. You're either lying to yourself.
Get someone else's perspective.
Talk to someone else. Have a tough conversation. It's there. You've got to dig it out. It's there. And this is if you really want to know, and it's there. The information's all there. And before you go compare yourself, think about this. Take 2 seconds to think about this.
You know how in car, like you're driving, you got like blind spots?
Yeah.
You've probably got lots of blind spots.
Yeah, it's a good analogy. I like that one. Everyone has blind spots, right?
Yeah, literally everyone does.
And to add on to this, think about it. It actually kind of mimics society in a way right now. you only see the people that do things well. Think about it. I feel like, Nathan, I want the camera back.
Okay, well, let's get the camera
Get the
back.
camera back, rock and roll. I really want
back
to
in
talk about
2
this.
milliseconds, guys.
So, as I was saying before, so basically, we're talking about it mimics real life, right? So on Instagram, for example,
You think it mimics society?
right? Yeah. So on Instagram, you only see the good things, right? You
Yeah.
look at that person's profile. Look at this amazing. Like, there's
Beautifully edited.
it's hilarious. I was
photo
having this
and
conversation with someone recently, and this Instagram profile, and it's this girl. She's a Olympic snowboarder. And she has all these Instagram images of her doing these crazy flips. She's been to the Olympics. She's gorgeous as well. She's beautiful. Like she's like she's a 10.
She's the perfect individual.
She's like a model. So she's a model Olympic athlete.
Yeah.
Then Stanford.
Yeah.
Crazy degree. And looking, she's so happy, sunshine, rainbows. And we had this, and the person I was saying how, yeah, she's just awesome. What an inspiration. What a role model. I'm like, yeah, great. I agree. She's definitely a role model.
That's great. That's amazing.
That's
stuff.
great. But there is things under the surface that we just don't know.
No.
Like, she could be a fucking psychopath. Or
Yeah,
what? There's
yeah.
something wrong here. Like, actually, the more perfect they look, the more scared I am.
Remember how there's you talk about the episode of Dave Rogan's talking to Joe Rogan, and they talk about this other girl that did similar things to Joe Rogan, and she looked like she is like Joe Rogan's like, what? Because he's talking about all the demons he has.
Yeah.
And then he's like to Joe Rogan like, she's got demons.
Yeah, she's got him. Everyone's got him. They
Everyone's
just don't
got
want to
him.
admit the shit.
No.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Because she's got them, but we
Yeah.
don't see them.
No.
That's the dangerous thing. We don't see them. Now, in League, when that guy destroys you, right? Or you see that guy who's winning all these games and it's X-ray, you didn't see what led to that point. You didn't see the losses. You didn't see the times where this guy shit the bed. This guy that...
He got flamed by his teammates. He's just losing all his games.
This guy, right? He might be the player that is complete coin flip.
Yeah.
You just happen to be on the
That's
flip of the coin that dominates
that's
you.
me when I'm behind. When I'm ahead, I have a good early, a certain situation.
You look like
Perfect
Canyon.
League of
Right,
Legends.
you look like this amazing
But
jungler.
then the opposite end,
Yeah.
it's like,
But we only see with that one game. We emphasize that one game. So, look, recently I've been having a lot of people saying things like, yes, I won my promos. Woohoo! I went 3-0. Look at my 3-0 block. Yes, I'm master tier now. Woohoo! Yes. And they get all pumped up. They're winning all these games. They're at top of Mount Everest. They're killing it. And then, I just went 0-3 today. I had 3 AFKs today.
4 days later.
Right. And then they go from this high to this low, and this gap in between is just like you're going from, and this is similar to drugs. Like you're this super high, you're taking cocaine, you're jacked up, and you're feeling great. And then on the come down, what's your default response going to be? I want more drugs. I want to get back to that high. Yeah. But that's what makes drugs so scary, is that the fact that you're coming from such a high to a low. And especially if you're taking drugs when you're like, depressed and you've got like all these huge issues and you're using it as an escape, that fucks you up.
That's right.
If you're using drugs and you're up shit creek.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with League. So in a way, yes, it's great to give yourself a pat on the back for getting that 3-0 block or getting that promo.
Yeah, small wins, right?
Small
Let's
wins,
celebrate.
brilliant.
But don't
you can't overemphasize it, because what happens when you inevitably, it's part of the journey, right? It's part of the process. You're going to lose games. You're going to get unlucky. What's going to happen then? How are you going to respond?
That's the next. I love that question. How are you going to respond? I mean, it's going to happen. How are you going to respond? You're gonna lose three blocks in a row, 9 games in a row, maybe even more. How are you going to respond?
How are you going to respond? Are you going to go on Discord and go on a rant for 30 minutes about how bad your teammates are? Or are you going to just do your review, log off,
and then move on to the next day? 110% intensity.
These are my learnings. This is what I did wrong today. This is what I can do. This is what I need to do next day. How are you going to respond? What sort of player do you want to be? So, beautiful stuff here. I'd love to hear, and I'd love to see the comments for this episode.
What's your journey look like? What things do you realize you need to work on?
What are some areas in the journey that you completely maybe disregarded?
Yeah.
What are some things that you didn't think about when comparing other people's league journeys? Because it's inevitable, right? Everyone's going to compare at some point. That's why I said you are going to compare. That's why I don't like, I didn't really agree with Healthy Gamer and the way he approaches it. It's like, you just don't compare, type thing. You just don't do it because we're no, but like it's just not. It's not realistic. You're going to compare. It's natural.
It's like the fish.
Yeah, the fish analogy. Moving on to Nathan's mailbag.
Yep, let's jump into Nathan's mailbag, everyone. Here we go. Welcome back for Nathan's mailbag. Jingle, jingle, jingle song.
And
Curtis trying to steal the show from
nearly
me,
stole
man.
it from me, dude.
God, Curtis. And welcome back to Nathan's mailbag, the greatest segment on the Broken by Concept podcast, the only segment that is structured on the Broken by Concept podcast. Champion pool and learning fundamentals. Hi, Curtis and Nathan. This will be a long one. Sorry in advance. All right, not reading it. See you later. Just kidding. This is Kev.
Kevin07.
I'm the default jungle main who switched to mid this season. You traitor, Kev.
Yes.
Thanks for answering my previous question about smurfing to learn mid back in episode 37. I played 150 games on my smurf to learn mid, then started playing on my main where I have 200 games so far. I'm currently sitting at Diamond 4. I fluctuated between D4 D3 a few times, but recently I went back to D4 0 LP, and I'm playing with plat average now. I'm satisfied with my progress so far, but I think I've plateaued, and it may be time to address some underlying issues. I guess he's looking to solve the problems before he's going to sit on this problem for months.
Yep.
Years, that you talk about.
Yep.
So this is good. We're tackling the problem. First and foremost, I'm a Fizz 1 trick. Initially, I wanted to have a well-rounded champ pool, so I played Fizz and Victor. But I found it difficult to learn mid when I couldn't play either champ well, especially when both champs have such different identities. I wanted to learn one champ to learn mid with first, then expand from there. But I enjoyed playing Fizz and didn't find any other champ interesting, so here I am. In episode 48 of BBC, when discussing Victor's question of champion pool and learning new champions, you mentioned a few points that I found interesting. I'm not sure if I'm understanding this the right way, so correct me if I'm wrong. Number one, all in on one identity, such as assassins, instead of playing both mages and assassins, is better. If you spam one champ only to climb, it'll take hundreds of games more to get good at the game. And number three, if you play a simple champ to learn the game and learn the fundamentals, it's easier and faster to learn new champs later when you're good. So those are our philosophies. Is that right, Curtis? Are we happy with those, or do we need to rebut those?
What was that? If you play one champion only, it takes you longer to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. So that said, my goal is to just become a good player overall in the shortest amount of time.
Okay.
I don't care about being a certain rank. I like to optimize my game plan for long-term results. Mm-hmm. What would you recommend for doing this? Now that I'm Diamond 4, should I still be focusing on learning the fundamentals, or should I be more concerned with the champion mastery? Should I start trying to learn another champ or continue playing Fizz?
Okay. Good question. Now, look, this is kind of like a side note, and I would love to know, Nathan, if you've had this same question. Do you get people say something like this, along these very similar? They'll say something like, I love my champion, and like they just play this one champ, right? And then they say, but I just don't find any other champion fun. When you say you expand your champ pool, they say, I just don't find any other champion fun. Do you get that response often?
Sometimes, and I say bullshit.
Sometimes? Okay. Because I think I have an answer to that question, that problem. We know that the more you get better at a game with a champion, like the more you enjoy it. The more you enjoy it, right? So this guy, right, he's played a lot of Fizz. He's learnt the game through the lens of Fizz, which is great. Yeah. Awesome. He's done that. He's doing it well at Diamond 4 level, whatever. Now, he's realized as you've gotten better at the game, you've expanded your knowledge of the game through Fizz, how fun the game is. So he doesn't want to go back to square one with a champion anymore. Now, this is not because you love Fizz. It's a combination between you love Fizz and you hate learning another champion. So every other champion is going to be not fun because you suck at it.
I almost gave up on my Dino Guide.
What?
Yeah.
Recently?
No, not recently. Like when I started the first day, 7 games in, I was like, how the fuck does the E work? Like this champ just sucks. Like I want to go back to my early game aggressive champs. literally like 5 games later. This is the funnest
Yeah,
champ ever.
right.
There's so much.
But I just don't think that timeline is realistic for most people.
Yeah, well,
I think usually it's like 30, 40, 50
I don't
games
think it's
in.
realistic, but because I picked it up, I just
Right.
something clicked.
Got you.
But I just wanted just that message. Like,
Well,
I
that
was so
click
close.
moment happens at different periods for certain people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think you're right. There is a click moment where things like, oh, okay, I get it now. Not because you're good at it, but you get it. You see the
I get it,
glimpse
yeah,
of what
yeah.
makes the champion
That's right.
strong.
It all made sense. It was like, I got
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Got you. So I think that what you're going to have to do, because you want to do it in a way that is, you know, you don't really care about, you want to do it in the shortest time possible and you want to be the best overarching player. Learn another champion that is similar to Fizz. Don't learn a mage. Screw mages. It's too much. So learn a champion, I would say, throwing it out there. These are a few champions that you should potentially consider. Akali, maybe even...
He says he's thought about learning Rumble, Yone, Kiana, Zillion, Kennen. What do you
yeah,
think?
Yone.
What do you think would benefit my champ pool the most?
Yeah, Yone would be great. Kiana can work, although it's very hard. Not Kennen and not... What was the other one? What he said? What was that?
Zillion.
No, not Zillion. So, yeah, Akali, Kiana, Yone, Zed. Zed's a very good one. Very similar. I like Zed. I recommend it a lot. Basically any other assassin that mimic, because you use the similar skill set. So I would find any the one out of those that is the least overlapping at the same time. So for example, that's why I didn't recommend Echo, because Echo is very similar to Fizz. Because Fizz is usually better into ranged champions, whereas Akali's good into melees. That's why I kind of like that. An 80 champ also works. So then you have a 50, you have an AD and an AP. That is great. So any of those, try and avoid Echo. So that's what I would recommend. Another assassin. And then you'll be all good. You have your small little 2 champ pool and then you'll be rock and rolling. And ideally, maybe when you get a little bit higher, to a third one. But that would be good. So that answers the question?
I think so.
Pretty simple, right?
Yeah, he just said he was playing Fizz and didn't find any other champion interesting.
Yep.
So here I am.
And that's bullshit. You're right. It is
Yeah.
bullshit. You
Yeah.
genuinely you'll have the very same experience on another champion. You just got to give it a shot, give it a crack, get through the tough first 50 games.
All right, so this next question is from Nats.
What was the first one? Who was that from? You didn't say, did you?
Yeah, Kevin.
Kevin. Oh, right.
I call him Kev, but Kevin.
Kevin 07.
This next one's from NatSound. I don't believe that's his name.
Okay.
Question: Wild Rift as a palate cleanser / coping mechanism for League players. Also, what Wild Rift players can get from League content. I'm 35 years old. I have a full-time, very intensive job that requires travel. I love it, and it is the sole focus of my life. However, I also love League of Legends. I consume the podcast, I follow the splits, I keep up with the patches, but I really don't have time to play, and I really haven't had any serious time to dedicate to any sort of rank goal since 2012. That all recently changed with the release of Wild Rift in NA. It scratches the very same itch that League delivered all those years ago. And while I still don't have time to push super high elo, I'm currently Plat 1, all the fundamentals apply. At the same time, because I can get anywhere from 2 to 4 good games in an hour, I can actually have a ranked narrative that feels nice. The micro is there, just different. The macro is there, it's just more condensed. Champion Mastery is there, it's just a very different alternate universe meta. The theory is there, it's just applied to a shorter blast of League. The intensity is just the same. I would never ask if this could be used as a strict teaching tool to have people learn the fundamentals of the main League of Legends, because it's very different. No mouse clicks, camera is locked, games are way shorter, which means the meta will never sync up, and there are different goals to achieve victory. However, what I will ask, could this be a good palate cleanser for people who seriously play League? It could just be that I've aged a decade, but I feel way less tilted playing Wild Rift than I remember trying to play the game back in the day. It feels really nice. Also, again, I have to say that whilst they are 2 very different games, I still feel like most of what you guys talk about applies here, and it still feels like I'm part of the larger community. When I do play, I take it seriously, and it's rewarding.
Interesting. Now, I did play a little bit of Wild Rift.
You did?
And I told you to play it.
Yeah.
You didn't do it, though.
I played like 2-3 games. It was interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
It's interesting.
It's fun.
It's not what I expected. It's actually pretty fun.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be average, but it's actually fun. Well done. It's a well-made game.
Yeah, they did a good job.
A really good job. You want to kick it off?
I just want to quickly address why the game's not going to be as toxic because there's less at stake for people. Like it's just so you will have a better experience in terms of being tilted less and a bit. Even for you, there's not much like it's because I don't know, man. Am I just disrespecting the game a bit there? But I feel like when I play it, I mean,
we can't really compare. Look, I think I know where you're going with this. Look, I think inherently because the games are so quick, there's only so much pain that you can induce.
That's right. Yeah, that's correct.
And like typing is a pain in the ass as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like in League, you can smash out stuff, but like it's so you don't have time to type. And the games are so quick, and people just die everywhere. Like you can just get kills so quick. Like more kills, more shit's happening. It's less brutal. Like there's healing shrines everywhere. You can get back on the map really quickly because the lanes are so short. You can't get frozen on and put into, and if your lane explodes, you can always do something elsewhere. The game is less tilt inducing.
Yeah, got it.
The concepts aren't as brutal. It's not a brutal game. I wouldn't call it like League is a brutal game. One mistake and you can be screwed.
You're playing a different game.
So you've got to remember, the toxicity in League is for a reason. The toxicity in League, toxicity, I believe, is a direct correlation to how brutal a game is or how unforgiving a game is. And League of Legends is one of the most unforgiving games. And that's the way I view it. So I just don't think you're going to get the tilt. I don't think you're going to get the toxicity. It's just not going to be on the same level.
And I want to address that part of it first because I think that's why that would attract to people a lot more, specifically because of that. It's just sort of like different. But I mean, at the end of the day, if I have X amount of time in the day, I'm playing a ranked game rather than a Wild Rift.
Right.
Like I mean, I guess you could maybe sort of like, because the shorter games, you could maybe play a quick 10, 15 minutes, but like I got other stuff to do.
Okay, I think the question...
And I want to play ranked. I want to get improved
But
from
the
ranked.
question wasn't really about that, right? It's more about like using it as a refresher, right?
Oh, as a refresher.
As in like, I'm assuming because you don't want... maybe you've tilted in game.
Or he's like
want to do
traveling
something
or
else.
something.
Maybe, but the way I was interpreting the question anyway was like, you're tilted in League, you don't want to play any more League.
Okay.
Is it better to play Wild Rift than like do something else?
Okay, interesting. Maybe.
Personally, no.
You don't think so?
I think the best refreshing in League is to like literally not even watch a single video.
Yeah, just
like
completely
just
disconnect from
detox from the game.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Spend a weekend away from League of Legends in every capacity. No streams, no games, no normals, no nothing. You detach.
To reset.
That's to reset, yeah. Refresh in the most effective way.
Yeah.
Personally. That's what works for me.
What about as like a warm-up?
Mechanics are too different.
Yeah,
no.
I agree. You're not actually warming everything.
I mean, I think it's perfect for someone like... what was his name again?
He didn't really have
Okay,
a name.
so yeah, for whatever... This guy, I think it's great.
Yeah.
And if you can fill your need or your love for the game, that competitiveness, great.
Yeah, that's great.
And a way more time effective,
Yeah.
on the move thing, I think it's absolutely brilliant, dude. I think that's what the game is for. That's what the game is for. It's for people that don't have the time to sit down at a computer and smash out a 35-minute game, and they're on the go, they're on the move. It's brilliant. So I don't even view League and Wild Rift kind of together.
Yeah,
I just don't.
Game, yeah.
They're just. I mean, yes, there are some concepts that flow on from League to Wild Rift. I don't think it goes both ways. Wild Rift is Wild Rift.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that some of the concepts from League just flow on to Wild Rift.
Yeah.
Wild Rift is not like League at all.
Well, the same fundamentals, obviously. Levels, experience, items.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lane in, minions, jungle.
But it's the application of it is so vastly different that I think, if anything, it could even be a negative. Because if you go from the mentality in Wild Rift that everything is go, 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 you don't have the patience. You know, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, maybe.
It could even be a negative. Because you're getting in that mentality where it's kills, 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 no small wins. There's no small wins in Wild Rift.
There is. Come on. At the highest
The
level,
scale would be so different.
I don't
The
know.
game is
I don't
just
know.
faster paced, man.
Okay.
So a small win,
It's still a small win.
I guess it's still a small win, but it's like a small win for what, like a second, whereas a small win in League is
No,
like...
for the rest of the game, for the entire game.
Right, maybe
It's like
maybe I
resets
just
and
don't
stuff.
understand the game enough then, because the way I interpret it is that it's more like a Team Fortress, like fucking deathmatch.
No, it's because you're playing in low elo. Dude.
Right. Yeah.
He's probably like high elo in it.
Right, maybe they're like really slow paced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
What
Okay.
are you talking about, dude?
I don't know. I thought that was just the game. I thought no matter. You don't think?
No.
Because the way I envision it at the high level, in my mind, it's probably even more chaotic. Because think about League, right? You look at a game in gold. The lower you are, the slower it is. The lower level play it is, the more sloppy, the more slower it is.
It's chaos, but it's slow though. It's slow chaos.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is still, it's going to be even faster pace at higher elo because of how much you can do.
Yeah, the faster pace into the tempo and all that sort of stuff, but there's not like kills happening.
I think they are.
I
mean, I would love to. I've never watched a high-elo TFT game. Maybe we got it. Maybe we're just not equipped to answer this question.
No, I don't think we are.
I don't understand the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get educated, Nathan. Let's get our shit together. Come on, man.
We're gonna have to explore.
Maybe let's just go and stream. I'm sure people stream it, right, on Twitch.
I don't know. No idea. Yeah, I think I remember watching Tarzan was playing at one time.
Right. Okay.
Timo's like OP or something like that.
Well,
yeah.
I respectfully cannot answer your question. Then I'm gonna leave it with that.
Not sure.
I'm sure.
All right. Last question is from Nick. How integrating League to my very busy schedule has been extremely beneficial. Hello, Curtis and Nathan.
Hey, Nick.
My name is Sarton.
Oh.
So he has two names. So, well, I mean, that's maybe I just accidentally said his real life name. But I think it's his IGN. And I want to start by saying how much I think what you guys do is amazing for League's community. You two are awesome people, so awesome role models, and I hope this podcast keeps going for a long time. Well, we've got another, how many episodes to do? 943? 3 or 2 after this one, right? So we got a lot more episodes to go. The past year and a half has been quite a roller coaster in my life. I lost my job at the start of COVID, had to go through online university, and I found myself having a lot of free time to play League. I finished last season with well over 1,000 games, barely able to reach Diamond 4, despite being high plat for the entire season. As of this moment, integrating League to my schedule has been much more difficult. I've moved out from my mum's place and working 50 hours a week at my job, and am taking an online university summer class despite all that. Needless to say that I can play 1 or 2 blocks a week at best, yet I've recently reached Diamond 1 and I'm aiming for Masters by the end of the season.
Whoa.
How fascinating is that? He has less time to play and he's higher elo by a significant margin.
I mean, this just ties into the whole League experience. This is crazy.
What I've realized has happened is that I take my games so much more seriously than ever before. I have went from spamming games mindlessly to understanding that playing League is now a privilege that I should take as seriously as possible. The way I see it is like when you live with your family, you don't necessarily appreciate the moments you spend with them as much as when you move out and can only see them for a few times a year. The same thing applies for League. When you have a lot of free time to play the game, you are much more likely to just jump into a game and play with little to no intensity, as of when you can only afford to play a few games a week. You'll be performing your heart out of these solo queues. Curious to hear your guys' perspective on this.
I love that word, privilege.
That's a great word.
It's a great word, isn't it?
He's articulated. That's a very healthy relationship with the game.
Beautiful.
That's excellently articulated as well.
Look at that. It's just it's a testament to having a healthy relationship with the game.
Yeah.
What a life. The experience that's such a life-changing experience, isn't it? Like the
Yeah.
perspective, you've gone from one end to the other, thousands of games to like that.
And gotten results. That would just boggle your
That
mind.
would make sense.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, look, thank you for sharing that with us, man. What an absolutely beautiful story. And I'm glad that you've kind of got your shit sorted as well, given that you lost your job and everything. That wouldn't have been easy. And
we always have rough patches.
Yeah.
Bounce
I mean, that's
back,
amazing.
Get into the details.
That's really, really good. And look, I think in a way that motivates me. How could I encapsulate? How could I take a little bit of that, what you have? How can I take that essence of playing a game of League of Legends as a privilege? How could I?
That's powerful.
Yeah,
man.
that's powerful. Like, imagine if we could just tap into that just a little bit.
Like when I was reading that, my first thing is like when you're playing all those games, you're actually disrespecting the game.
You are. You're abusing it. It's like abusing something that's good, and then it doesn't become good anymore.
Yeah.
It's like when you, let's just say, for example, you
listen to a song over and over again.
Yeah, listen to a song. That's a great example. And then you listen to it, and you abuse it, and then you hate it, and you can't stand it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's many, or like food in a way. Like you
Get sick of food. Yeah.
It's like when you have takeaway once a week, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's
Like especially when you're a
amazing.
kid.
Yeah.
But then when you move out and you have it all the time,
Yeah.
it's like, eh.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I like it, man. I'm gonna try and tap in. I'm gonna steal some of that stuff there. I'm gonna steal the juice there.
Squeeze it out.
Squeeze it out. See if I can actually apply that on my own. Something I need to reflect on.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting concept. Awesome story.
All right. Well, that's good to end off then, Curtis.
Positive note.
All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. We got lots to do.
Yep. Oh, I like this episode. I mean,
This is a good one.
I mean, a lot of reflection going on. Love to hear the comments on this one.
And make sure, guys, if you forgot, but if you just listen to this podcast, leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts,
Or don't.
or don't if you just think the podcast
You know,
sucks.
this is not a what do they call it?
What?
It's not a dictatorship.
Okay, well,
People can do what they want to
we
do.
do. We shove 3 blocks down people's throat all the time.
Actually.
Curtis.
We're a bit contradictory.
That's right. You know, you say it, you're part of the Midland. I don't want to hear anything from Midland Academy if you don't have a process.
Okay.
That's dictatorship.
Got you.
All right, guys. We will see you in the next episode of the BBC podcast.